Welcome in to PFF's Three High Safeties. Austin Gayle here with Mike Renner and Ben Linsey, ready to rip it up after NFL Week 10. Starting with this, DeAndre Hopkins pulls in arguably the best Hail Mary we've seen in a decade plus, bringing the conversation to who is the best receiver in the NFL right now. Mike, I'll start with you.
I don't really care about best. I'm going to tell you who I would want on my team the most, and that is Tyreek Hill of the Kansas City Chiefs, because there is no answer for Tyreek Hill. What his speed does in terms of affecting opposing defenses, how they have to game plan for him when you just can't leave certain cornerbacks matched up with him one-on-one and expect to come away with a good result. To me, that's more valuable than what any other receiver in the NFL brings to the table. So Tyreek Hill and that game-breaking, big playability, already 8 deep catches on the season. Like I said, everyone's game planning for him. That, to me, is who I want on my team if I had the first pick.
I'm going to go with our highest graded wide receiver in the NFL this year, Davante Adams. All the talk was the Packers need to get someone to complement Adams. They need to draft someone. They need to trade for Will Fuller. Apparently they don't, because Adams just keeps destroying defenses. Aaron Rodgers is playing well. He's one of the best route runners in the league. Contested catches, he can pull those down. He can win deep. He can do it all. I do think a sort of dark horse in this conversation is Antonio Brown, coming back from his time off. He was one of the best wide receivers in the NFL when he left, and I still think he's in that conversation.
I'm going with Cincinnati Bengals' A.J. Green. No, it's Davante Adams. He's the highest paid receiver in the NFL right now. He has been consistent week in, week out, while also drawing a ton of interest from opposing NFL defenses. They know that Marquez Valdes-Scantling, Equanimeous St. Brown, Robert Tonyan, as fun as his last name is to say, are not the guys in Green Bay. It's Davante Adams. He continues to see double coverage looks and continues to dominate. Davante Adams, PFF's highest grade receiver, is the best receiver in the NFL right now.
I'm not going to argue too hard with you there on Davante, but I'll still take Tyree. All right, on to the next one here. The Hail Murray, Kyler Murray to DeAndre Hopkins, electric Hail Mary to beat the Buffalo Bills yesterday. Kyler Murray's numbers getting better by the week. Ben, is he a legitimate MVP candidate with better numbers at this point than Lamar Jackson had at this point last season?
I think it's hard to say that he is when you look at guys like Patrick Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers, the way that they're throwing the football right now. And Murray's still not an elite passer. He adds a ton of value on the ground. It's hard to overstate how important that has been to that Cardinals offense. He's averaging 4.4 yards before contact per carry, which is an absurd number. It's sort of the same idea as passing downfield. You want to get those yards in the air. Same thing with picking up yards before contact on the ground. But I don't think he's in that same conversation as the top quarterbacks in the NFL and the MVP conversation.
Boo, I disagree. Kyler Murray is on pace for better numbers than Lamar Jackson, passing yards, rushing touchdowns, rushing yards, than he did in his MVP caliber season. The only problem is no one's talking about it. Everyone wants to talk Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers, Josh Allen, Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson's lost 2 games in a row. Aaron Rodgers lost to the Minnesota Vikings at home. You have Patrick Mahomes, I think, is still probably the favorite for NFL MVP, only losing that game to the Las Vegas Raiders as 2 touchdown favorites at home, by the way. But Kyler Murray is the only reason this Arizona Cardinals team is even close to a Super Bowl run. He is driving that entire team. The defense, it ranks 15th in EPA per play allowed. The receiving core is DeAndre Hopkins and everyone else. The Cardinals offensive line isn't good. Kyler Murray, yeah, he's not an elite passer. It's because he really struggles with a bad supporting cast outside of DeAndre Hopkins. And even Cliff Kingsbury hasn't put him in ideal situations so far this year. I think Kyler Murray should be in the MVP conversation. If Patrick Mahomes has a misstep, maybe misses some time due to injury, not rooting for that, but that, I think, puts Kyler Murray as the favorite of the MVP if Patrick Mahomes just takes a step back.
I do not think he should be in the MVP conversation just because of what Aaron Rodgers and Patrick Mahomes right now are doing with their arms is night and day from Kyler Murray. Yes, the rushing is sexy, on pace for 965 yards
Sex
so far
matters.
this
Sex
season,
matters
and that's great. That's great. That's fun for him. But we're talking about value, not. This isn't the Heisman. This isn't who's your favorite guy to watch. This is the most valuable player in the NFL. And to me, like I said, what Rodgers and Mahomes are doing right now, they're neck and neck for 1 and 2. I'd probably give the edge to Mahomes at the moment, but those guys are playing lights in pretty much every single week except for that one hiccup for Aaron Rodgers. But I just think that is so much more valuable in that conversation.
Sex sells in this league, Mike. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Ben.
If sex matters, Phillip Rivers should be in the MVP, right?
That's true.
Well, one guy who has fallen out of the MVP conversation a little bit these last couple of weeks is Russell Wilson. Seahawks lose again. Ravens lost on Sunday Night Football. And the Saints are potentially going to be without Drew Brees here for the next couple of weeks. So which one of those three teams is in the most trouble moving forward?
Yeah, I honestly think it's the Seattle Seahawks. And I think the New Orleans Saints will be in an okay place with Jameis Winston starting under center. And the Baltimore Ravens, I think, have 4 easy wins on their schedule over the next few weeks, getting them to at least a 10-6, even with, they have the Giants, the Bengals, the Jags. They have a handful of easy teams on their slate. The Seattle Seahawks are in a division where there's a 3-way tie for first place between the Cardinals, Los Angeles Rams, and obviously the Seattle Seahawks at 6-3. Russell Wilson has not looked himself over the past 2 weeks. I think Seattle, in a tough division, could be in a place where they're competing for a wild card spot in the NFC. I think the bye matters. The bye matters this year more than any year, with 7 teams now allowed to go into the playoffs from each conference. I think Seattle, you said it last week, Mike, they're in trouble, and I think now we're seeing it.
Yeah, I'm going to go a little different route just because Seattle, for them to actually miss the playoffs altogether, the Bears are going to have to overtake them in the NFC. That's the only team really competing there at 5-4 with Seattle 6-3. So I don't think they're in that much trouble. I think the Saints will get by playing the Falcons twice in the next 3 weeks with Jameis. I think the Ravens, with 5 teams right now, 5 teams tied for the wild card spots in the AFC at 6-3, with the Ravens being one of them. Yes, they have a few cupcake games left on their schedule, could very easily get to around 10-6 by the end of the year. But I do think that with how top heavy the AFC looks right now, there are a lot of bottom feeders in that AFC. I think you'll see a lot of teams in that 10-6 range, and the Ravens may be on the outside looking in.
Yeah, I agree with Baltimore, and it kind of surprised me going into last week that game against the Patriots. If you look at EPA per play, the Patriots were 24th, the Ravens were 25th, and we've talked about how bad that Patriots offense is from a skill standpoint. But the Ravens offense has just not been good this year, and I just have more faith in what Seattle and New Orleans can do on that side of the ball than what Baltimore can, and that's what's going to win you games down the stretch.
You want to get rid of me and get back to more great PFF YouTube content? All you have to do is push that button right there and subscribe. Thanks for watching.